So the journey back, we're in Belfast on Friday, and we usually like about a week before it, we all just kind of come back together and get back into it and kind of just get a wee refresher so we don't go in and make an arse of ourselves, if anything. Right, and that's really it. So, aye, it's we're in the middle of that now. I'm done in, I'm knackered, but it's always the weather doesn't help. See when it's roasting and you're jumping about like an idiot to Penny Arcade. You know what I mean? So that doesn't really help too much.
The journey back, it's been massive, isn't it?
It's worked out well, mate. It's worked out the way I hoped it would work out. When I first wrote the show, it was personal experience. You know what I mean? It was all about just the experience I had and my pals had and my family had during that period of time, kind of coming back through the leagues. You know what I mean? Like coming, growing up in a strict, staunch Rangers household. You know what I mean? When it kind of got to that whole period of time, like even though we were way up north or we were way up to all these absolute middens, for lack of a better term. There was still this thing where you needed to kind of hold yourself as no, this is Rangers, and you had to have a sense of pride, and we do a lot of that in the show. It just kind of really cements what that journey was like for Rangers fans who, for the better part of 50, 60 years, was the dominant team in Scotland. You know what I mean?
And oh, obviously you're going to Belfast. Is that the last one? Is that the final one?
That's the final one now. We've done everything we could possibly do with it. You know what I mean? I mean, doing the hydro in January there, and we were away down to London, and then coming up to do the Belfast Arena. I was like, we've done it for 3 years straight now. Like, I'm a big believer in not staying you're welcome. We raised a lot of money for charities and stuff like that, so it was kind of just like a bowing out for a period of time. It's kind of just put it on the shelf for a while and go and do something else. So I've done everything I could possibly want to do with it, it's time to kind of just move on for something else.
Well, a lot of folk have actually asked me about, the wee kind of comedy sketches that you do that kind of that get posted on socials.
Aye.
One minute you're a Rangers fan, next minute you're a Celtic fan.
Aye, aye,
Was that just
aye.
purely for social media, or was because I know you were involved in the BBC?
I used to write Only an Excuse when it was on. That's how I kind of got a start into kind of writing comedy. At the time, I was still a postman, so it was very much kind of like a hobby where every now and again, like the BBC would chuck me a bone or two to kind of do stuff like that. But when I started doing it, the stuff I was doing was working out. A lot of people were watching it, and I just felt as if "Right, there is something here. I think it's about time maybe something like Only an Excuse got rejuvenated, you know what I mean? Had a wee bit of a refresher because a lot of stuff when we were writing for Only Excuse, I mean, I was writing for characters like Frank McAvenny. Like I'm 35, I can't remember Frank McAvenny. You know what I mean? So I was writing for all these characters and going, what am I going to do? So I just felt as if there was a better spin on it, if it could be more modernised. But the thing I always found funny was fan culture. Like well, I'm a Rangers fan, but I live in Coatbridge, and Coatbridge is a predominantly the other
Hmm.
side. Actually, that's actually a big, massive myth. There's a massive, massive Rangers support in Coatbridge, but so I grew up with people that I knew that were Celtic fans and stuff like that, and just the part and the banter, like it was extremely funny. Like you just always want to outdo each other, and so I kind of just started writing like that. I was like, we like to contradict each other quite a lot as
Hmm.
Scottish football fans, especially fans of the old firm. Like, if one says black, it's the other one says no, it's white, and just at each other's throats all the time. So I thought it was always really funny. Like the fans were the funnier thing of the game rather than any characters that were in the game. So I kind of just went down that road, and it worked out. COVID and all that kind of messed it about because there was plans for us to do something a lot bigger and a lot better with it, but then COVID happened and everything just kind of all the plans just went out the window. So I continued just kind of writing them and doing them on my phone, and I was like, one day we'll probably come round and we'll maybe do something with them. But then I done the journey back, and that kind of took over for the past couple of years. But I felt this year like, do you know what? No, now I've got a wee bit of experience and like some contacts with like theatres and stuff. I was like, why don't I go and do the do the do the sketch show, and I'll do it live, and I'll do it on a stage. So we done the first one in the pavilion, and it was great. Really enjoyed it. We done the ones like that Scoosh Gate and all that. I
Yeah,
don't know
I've
if you
seen the
got to
clip.
see. Aye. So it was just ones like that. So it was basically all I kind of let's see if this would work out. Let's see if I put a night on where we kind of debuted brand new big great sketches. Then maybe we'll see where it goes and we'll take it further. So it worked out. So maybe like to do it again in the future. Because I mean, nobody's watching the telly. There's no point in trying to get a telly show. Who's watching it? When was the last time you watched it? The telly. You know what I mean?
I genuinely can't remember the last time I sat down to it.
Exactly.
I don't even watch Match of the Day anymore.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like everything you're getting, everything's on your phone, everything's YouTube, everything's all that. So it shifted for me quite a lot. About 5 or 6 years ago, it was all about working with the BBC. Like the end goal was maybe like taking over for Only Excuse and having that Hogmanay kind of program where it was going to be football. But as things changed and as technology and viewer attitudes kind of changed, then I was like, there's no point in me doing it like that. Like I can do stuff on my phone and it works out, and then doing the theatre stuff, I was like, well, now I can actually, if I want to ever do a live show, I've got the opportunity and the contacts to do that. So that's basically where we're at with that. So we'll probably do one again. I'll maybe make it a yearly thing. Where it's just kind of like a roundup of the entire season, all the highs and all the lows of all the teams, and just kind of just rip the
Oh,
P
you can
the P.
swear away. You can swear away.
There you go, rip the cunt right out of them, man. And that's it. I got a lot of things like being a Rangers fan. Like I got a lot of people say to me like, "Oh, how can you slag Rangers? How can you do this?" I support my football club. Like I'm well within my rights to turn around and say if they're shite or not. You know what I mean? And have a good laugh and joke about it. Like I'm not some like if Rangers do bad, then it's there for the taking. It's there to be turned around and a light shone on it to go. This isn't acceptable as a Rangers fan. Like this isn't. So that's the angle I always go for. But I got a lot of stick about that. It's a good laugh. From an insider's point of view, like the whole process of that. So there was a sketch I wrote. I wrote a sketch for Only Excuse, and it was called "Obsessed for Boys," and it was a fake Calvin Klein advert. Aye. So it was all about kind of like a Celtic fan who was obsessed with Rangers and he needed to know about it. We made it all arty farty. So I wrote that for Only Excuse. And if you write in for Only Excuse, it's not just a case of you wrote in, there's your sketch, and it was on. It had to go through producers and executive producers and Ofcom and all this carry on. So it got hugely diluted. And then so they never took that one. And this is something I always kind of laugh about. So I went and made it myself, and it still sits today as like one of the highest ever viewed videos in BBC Scotland history. But it wasn't good. It wasn't good enough to be on Only an Excuse though.
I do think there was an element where Scottish football kind of lost some of the characters it had.
Exactly.
Well.
Aye.
And then I think over time, there's probably only so many Frank McAvenny jokes you can do about where the birds are and stuff like that. So it kind of just lost. Whereas, let's say, those big characters that were kind of dominated Scottish football, we kind of lost.
Exactly.
That
That's exactly what happened. And as I say, like when it came to kind of going to rewrite the show or kind of like what direction I wanted to take it in, there wasn't any characters to do it, and I always felt as if I was to do characters, then I'd end up just doing the same joke over and over and over again. So it was the fans for me, as I say, is like honestly, do yourselves a favour, just sit for it. You'll see it yourselves, sit for a week, and you'll find about 5 or 6 mental stories that will come out of Scottish football. You know what I mean? It's a revolving door constantly of just the pettiest, most ridiculous things you've ever heard, and it all comes from fans. It all comes from. I mean, look at the tifo thing. Like that's the latest one. The stuff with the tifo. You know what I mean? The one before that was the water. You know what I mean? And then what the or the 49ers. All this carry on. It's a never evolve, an always evolving door. Sorry, of just endless patter. You know what I mean? So that's where you get the material for. It's not really about the characters in the game anymore. Because I can imagine, like when it comes to like managers and players, like they're obviously getting told week in week out, don't say something, don't put yourself in the media, don't say you put yourself in the press. Whereas back in the 80s and the 90s, you got people like Graham Souness going off his nutty things, and you had players and managers kind of just putting their foot in it. Whereas that's something that's it's urged not to within the club not to happen anymore. So the fans pick up on that. The fans are the people who kind of create all the banter and all the patter week in week out, and it's relentless.